evolving digital landscape, for your business to thrive, you must adapt or die. Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI, the podcast helping you harness the power of AI and marketing tools to revitalize and grow your business. And now here's your host, marketing expert and author of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI, Emmanuel Rose.
Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI. This episode is going to be really interesting because I have a guest who is experienced in both B2B and B2C and has been a project manager or business owner of, or product manager, or business owner of many different products, services, and we'll have some interesting perspective. So want to welcome Charles to the show, and thanks for taking the time to talk about marketing tonight, Charles.
I'm excited about this. It's a pleasure to be here, Emmanuel, and we hang out with some pretty nefarious folks. Sort of how this came to be, but I actually talked to Patrick and Jonathan earlier today, so appreciate them bringing us together, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, and you've got an interesting background in that you are in the insurance world, you're in the farming world, and you're in the finished products world, right? Did I get all those spaces right?
Pretty close. I've hung the farmer hat up temporarily. I like to tell myself just so many hours in the day, but yes, it's I've got a fairly large pond, although it's shallow in most spots. But yeah, I the insurance now, gosh, combined over 20 years, both personal and commercial side, and yeah, we launched the consumer products brand in January of 22. So yeah, so very exciting.
It's maturing. So let's just talk about on the direct consumer side, because is it primary e-commerce that you're selling your skincare line through?
All e-commerce with a handful of just looking at wholesale sort of brick and mortar situation. We have a very high education product, and so it doesn't fit necessarily well into snippet ads or anything like that, and so I don't feel comfortable putting necessarily my product in the hands of a retail store without a very deep immersion into sort of the how and why and what of our brand. And so, yes, I would say 99% of our traffic and sales come through our e-commerce platform. And
how are people finding you to transact, excluding the people who you're talking to or you're sending there? How are the true prospective customers finding you guys?
Yeah, we have two primary marketing strategies right now. One is a handful, as marketing budgets dictate, we will expand into more conferences, interpersonal, conferences. As a vendor, I had my first speaking event earlier this year in Austin, Texas. So nice. When you can couple sort of a vendor exhibitor with having the stage, that's always helpful. But our primary is podcast appearances, long form. I've had a couple of 30 to 45 minute segments, 30-minute segments, but an hour's just leaves a lot of time to really tell the story and talk about what we do and why we do it, and educate the consumer about that. And so that's been our primary push. Right. In terms of getting our name and our product in front of the consumer.
I love it. That's very forward thinking, and I would think pretty much it's a time commitment on your side, right? And then a little post marketing once you've been out there.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and we're a little counter narrative in terms of the skincare market at large, and so I would even say I have yet to be on a skincare or dermatologist type podcast. Now we're trying to turn the corner on that, but sort of tangential health, lifestyle, regenerative farming. Our products are really born out of a commitment to raising animals properly and respecting and building soil. And so those are some sort of tangential, very, very on brand adjacent subject matter
Yep.
to go on and talk about
I
fairly.
love it. I got to get you on my other podcast called Nature Bound, and then we can have that discussion.
Oh yeah, man. I love it. I love it.
But okay, well, let's go down this road then. Then how are you finding podcasts to appear on?
At the moment, it's a little bit grassroots. I've got I would say the three pillars undergirding Faro are just healthy lifestyle, eating, nutrition, regenerative farming, and then specifically around sort of the paleo diet. My ex-wife and I have published a number of cookbooks in the paleo space. I'm sure you're familiar with that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so been swimming in those pools, playing in those sandboxes for a while, and so have a lot of deep relationships in that world, and just also being proactive. I just hired a virtual assistant maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago, and just picked up that whole box of podcast outreach and handed it to her. So some of them are pay to play, and if it's in the budget, we'll try and make it work. But again, it's I like venturing outside of skincare. I think our most popular, we track and trace all this stuff. Our most popular podcast appearance in terms of sales, it's a close race between Sean Baker's carnivore diet sort of podcast, and believe it or not, Jack Spurko, who's like a off-grid homesteady podcast. And so between those two, those were our two most successful appearances. But we've had very, very generous folks in the space. If you're not into the regenerative ag and healthy food and food freedom world, it's a very, very positive environment. There's not a lot of zero-sum game folks in there, and so everyone's been very supportive of having a dialogue.
Nice. And then, are you also leveraging social media in any of that, or what's your social media strategy?
Just a bit. I am. I don't like to tell myself this, but it's the truth. I am tough on Instagram. We're an Instagram brand. I love X/Twitter. It's females constitute like 80% of the purchasing decisions. Skincare is a predominantly female and visual business model, and so Instagram, we're there. I've just brought on a young lady to sort of help me get that up to snuff. I'm tough with the camera. When I've got my kids with me, it's funny. I've got two young kids that are really sort of the muse behind my business. And so whenever they're with dad, I do make it a point to hop on and look at a do a video or a live. And they've been instrumental in the business. I'm nice. Coming to you live from our little fulfillment room.
I love it.
And if Scott was here, buddy, he'd be printing out orders and pulling product and all sorts of fun stuff.
Awesome. Now you're female predominant. So then have you flirted at all with Pinterest?
I have not. At some point, that's one of those. It's like TikTok as well. It's one of those that me trying to get on Pinterest and do anything of value is a waste of time. Yeah. And so at some point we'll find an affiliate or some mom that really loves Pinterest that wants to sort of join hands and collaborate with us on doing that. Again, it's so funny. It's a very high education product, and so maybe I'm shooting myself in the foot a little bit, but I need that long form until we get more traction. Skincare is also like, oh, she's doing it or he's doing it. I'm going to give it a try, and so
interesting. And so then for marketing, you've been looking at it as joint ventures with these podcasters. Essentially, I mean, you're leveraging their audience to be able to generate sales, is how I'm hearing it. So.
Yeah, we're hyper unique, and so in the skincare world, there's the 99% and there's the 1%, and I'm over here in 1% land. The vast majority, in fact, all but me, in the animal fat based skincare world are using tallow exclusively, which for your listeners comes from mostly beef fat. We're unique. We use lard, which is from a pig. We use some tallow as well, but so we're sort of hyper unique. And so that's an automatic entree into having a conversation just about pigs in general, the history behind them, their significance, even in the modern day. Forget skincare, just medically, it's a rather remarkable animal, especially when it comes to how much biology it shares with us.
Yeah. And so you've got your website, and then do you run an email newsletter or text messaging or anything kind of
Yeah.
after that?
Yeah, we've got so we use Keep. I don't know if you're familiar with Keep or not. KEAP. They're a CRM,
Okay.
platform, and so we've developed some client journeys, and so when someone goes to our website and buys something, if they subscribe, then they get a sort of one journey. If they leave an empty cart, they get a different journey. But we've got a series of emails sort of set up to nurture them along. We have I'm actually working to build this out even more so now. Our product is so unique, like a little bit goes a long way. And so one of the things we're constantly educating our customer on is, just use a little, it'll last a couple months. And so we're developing out a sort of a user biased experience. So partnering with some of our customers, sending them some free product, give us a
nice
video, show us how you use the product. So when that product is purchased, then an email comes out with some links, click on this to see how, Jane or Billy or so-and-so uses, skin food or face food or whatever. And then we do I wouldn't call it a newsletter. So we call it long-term nurture. And so just a quick email every couple weeks. Hey, here's what's going on. Keep people sort of interested. Again, we're still very young.
Yeah.
And so, and candidly, that's the part I enjoy the most, is really sharing this journey. It's been kind of wild and crazy, and will probably be that way for a while.
Well, what does it look like as far as product development? What's on your horizon in the near term? You have any new products coming out?
We just launched. Actually, you can see them stacked up behind me. We just launched a soap.
Okay.
Actually, a triple, three different soaps. I'm working on, a couple of different products right now. We've got sunscreen's very big. I don't necessarily use it. If you're over here in sort of carnivore, paleo world, you understand that you maybe just don't need to use it. But there is a cleaner way to make sunscreen. Just as effective, less toxic, and so we're working on one of those. I'm actually I can't talk too much about it, but we do have we're about to do a really interesting adjunct to our current model, which is all handcrafted, full fat, high integrity creams. I mentioned sort of the 1% and 99%. So I am working on some products that sort of fit into the 99% world a little bit better.
Love it.
And, with hopes of maybe getting on some retail shelf. Our current products, Emmanuel, are not really, they're not designed to sit in a warehouse. They're not designed to, they're the pure real deal. And
they're still alive when you ship them.
They're breathing kind of, sort of. Yeah. And they melt, just for your listeners that want to understand. They're and you go to your local pharmacy and buy any product off the shelf. It's probably a year old. It's been sitting in a warehouse shelf. But also, if you leave it in your car and it gets warm, it's the consistency of that product doesn't change due to the chemicals and preservatives they do. So we're brainstorming a couple of different ways to candidly jump into that world in as clean a format and fashion as we can, but also bring the highest integrity, highest quality product we can too.
Well, it's always fun to see where the market leads a company like this, and so be interesting to see what you come up with. And let's see what about, have you since you do have a background in health and fitness, are you in any health clubs?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. You talking about with our product?
Yeah.
No, not we've had some discussions with a handful. I had one ready to roll out of Texas, and then something happened. But
Yeah.
no, one of the best feedbacks I get for our Epic Dermis product, which is the sort of a portable packable tube. I've sent it to a number of men, and I do a lot of playing around with kettlebells and barbells. It's the greatest thing ever to keep your calluses from getting too, bent out of shape, and just sort of keeping your hands in shape. And so, this is actually back to marketing. This is going to be one of our challenges moving forward. Is the skincare industry has fractionated. There's a product for every specific thing.
Yep.
And one of the things I struggle with, candidly, especially at our scale right now, I struggle with, do I make a hyper unique product, or do I just market that our regular product is broad enough to handle, this condition, this condition, this condition. And so really sort of fighting, it's a battle between what the consumer is already wired in the head. You need an AM cream and a PM cream and a 17 steps and 15 products. And so part of our marketing and candidly our ethos is educating the consumer. It's just like the diet industry. They want you eating 12 small meals a day and weighing and measuring all of this stuff. And I'm not saying there's not utility in doing that.
Right.
But the vast majority of people just need to focus on clean ingredients, getting plenty of sleep, going for a walk.
Fundamentals.
That's right. The fundamentals. And I love the biohacking community. I'm a big fan. I like to hack just like everybody else, but everyone jumps over the basics to get to like the sexy stuff, I guess. And so that's part of what we're fighting. And hopefully, again, part of this education process, giving the consumer some better tools.
Yeah, I love it. And so then, who have you entered into the influencer world at all? Do you have any people who are pushing you that way?
A handful of small, I would call them small to mid influencers. One of the things we're transitioning or will be transitioning away from, currently our website, it's fantastic. And we probably are going to roll over to Shopify at some point. It's just, for consumer products brands, it is out of the box.
Yeah.
It's built for that. And so how you can then partner with your consumers from a referral standpoint, how you can build out affiliates in a much more robust way. And so we've got a handful of affiliates, but that's on our marker. It ties into the podcast appearance. If a host, if they're big enough and if they want to affiliate with us officially, then we will absolutely have that conversation.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Because you're in a space that is a pretty competitive space, right?
Certainly highly saturated.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And then, but you have this unique take on it. And so, from my perspective, the more that you can plug into the already existing habits, and like leave education those campaigns to secondary, and that way you can build your income stream with the products that you have in the already existing habits, and then you can start to turn them once they become clients or customers. Your marketing dollars will be a better one-to-one. You will get a better ROI, right, on direct sales. But it's an interesting take. So your CRM is what you're using for your email marketing, the key.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
And it's a robust. I mean, let me tell you one thing off the jump. Any technology that I'm using, I'm probably using like 20% of its capacity, which is one of the reasons I wanted to get on and talk to you. We're sort of scratching the wall on AI right now, but yeah, it's a robust platform. I do think it integrates a little bit better with Shopify, which would make sense. Shopify is they're the place to be for consumer products, as far as I'm concerned, or Amazon, but both of those. And so, we are integrating, and I've been pleased with it so far. Again, I've got somebody that helps me with that.
Yeah.
One of the beauties of the industry today is, I mean, I think I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 4 people on my team.
Yeah.
None of them are here.
Sure.
You know, I got one in Washington and one in Florida and one in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, leaning into technology, that I'm very happy about being able to do that.
Yeah, our ability to fractionally utilize subject matter experts is unparalleled in this time, right? I mean, you can get an hour with any expert you want, and you could pay between $10 and $10,000 and get an answer, right? That's more than you know. So it's phenomenal. Let's see. So you mentioned that you have a sequence for abandoned carts. Do you have in that retargeting with ads?
Not yet. That's part of. We're putting a deck together right now to sort of maybe go raise some funds and take this to the next level. You know, you've got a runway to really get lightning in a bottle, and I don't want our runway to run out.
Yeah.
So to speak. But yes, we're developing out a couple of things, and again, this is just there's so many hours in the day. We're trying to push as many people to a subscription model as possible, especially right now. Most of our creams again are handcrafted. Sort of try to do in real time fulfillment, not perfect, but pretty close.
Yeah.
And so we reward people with that. I'm trying to encourage people. You know, we say it feeds your skin, and so just like dietarily, you want to be constantly feeding your skin. And so pushing people into subscription models. Well, part of the challenge for our customer is how often do I need to subscribe? And so we offer 3 varieties. We have a lot of people that subscribe out of the gate because we do offer a discount when you subscribe, but also we don't penalize folks when they cancel. And so I don't have a system to recapture someone that cancels or suspends, and so we're literally building that out right now.
That's cool. And is that something that's part of Keep, or is that going to be another third party service?
Keep's pretty robust. I'm only utilizing probably 20 or 30% of the platform, but it's got some sizzle.
Yeah, no, that's good for all those fundamentals. There's a great tool that I'm just testing myself. It's called Loop Genius. And that's what they're focused on, is in this retargeting through social media ads. And they have both an influencer option and then an AI generating content part of it also. So basically it's kind of a hands-off AI tool that you put your list in it, and they generate all these different options for you of ads. And so it's one that definitely has kind of leapfrogged beyond what some of the other retargeting softwares have done, because they're just starting out in AI rather than having to start from the beginning.
So. Yeah, we I'm fairly new to the AI space. The power there is absolutely mind-boggling. I'm part of a men's sort of virtual group. We meet once a month, and a handful of the guys in this group are way out there on the cutting edge. And so they take me for swims in the deep waters of AI every now and then.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, so here's one area where I started with AI and I've actually backed out. So there's a platform called Get Munch. Have you heard of this one?
No, I don't know this one.
Okay, so it munches up. It uses AI technology to take I take this podcast and I'll upload it to YouTube and then throw it in Get Munch, and it will use AI to create 50 different clips of us talking, and then I can go in there and I have some editorial capacity, but my virtual assistant can take that same video and go through and with a little bit more human understanding and also clip it up. So she'll turn 3 minutes of talking into 75 seconds of a Instagram reel, right?
Right. Yep.
Whereas the AI, it can't do that because it doesn't have that clippable
Okay.
capacity. And so,
Interesting.
yeah. Now, on the marketing side and figuring out, I'm already playing with the idea at some point after we transition the website to building an AI driven skincare analysis.
Sure. Love
Based
it.
on our customer feedback. Do you have oily skin or this skin? Do you have,
Yep.
just coming up with 15, 20 questions and letting that tool guide them to the appropriate product and or sort of user experience
Right.
that's going to be best for them. So I'm super pumped about that.
Yeah, that's a great use of it. Also, yeah, where you can actually just put yourself on camera and then say, "What do I need?" Right,
That's
and then
right.
that facial recognition and the machine learning or visual learning can spin that up for you. Um, there is a tool called Opus Clips. I don't know if you've tried that or not, but that's a nice one. And then Clipscribe is another one that I use that we use
Okay.
for that kind of clipping that you're talking about, and then adjusting titling and all those things, as well as then
I was
pulling it
going to
out
take
the
notes.
transcript. Well, yeah,
I was going to take notes, and then I remembered I can just listen to this one again.
and it'll be in the show notes on YouTube.
There you go. And the first one you said was Loop
Loop Genius is
Genius. Gotcha.
And it's a great new tool. The CEO founder was on the show, and I've been testing it and working on ways to automate some lead gen sequences so that everybody who comes into the funnel gets retargeted with ads also on social on Meta. So
Yep. That's where I see this stuff really taking off. I don't see, and again, I'm a novice, but I don't see the full integration between AI and a lot of these social platforms yet. I may be wrong, but
well, there's still a lot of smoke out there, right? A lot of people speeding on their marketing license, talking about what's AI, and it really isn't. It's just software, but it's interesting software, but not necessarily AI. I think the dynamism of AI with current conditions is what it really is the value to the marketing world from my perspective, right? Like it's going to rain tomorrow, and then all of a sudden the ads come out to populate things that relate to rain. So that's a really simplistic example, but that's the direction that I think is valuable to us. And depending on the software, they've got between 3,000 and 10,000 data points per person to pull information on. So, that is a phenomenal resource as a marketer. As a human being who likes to buy things, I find that a little disconcerting because pretty sure I don't know 3,000 things about myself, so much less 10,000.
Well, we're all struggling to be self-aware for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it'll be interesting and some sentiment analysis too, to be able to pull people who are into certain kinds of organic living or low cost living lifestyles of health and sustainability, and to be able to find social media comments that they make, and then that comment and that person isn't scrubbed into your lead file, and then that you're able to retarget or email or text that person. Those things are you're able to find those types of tools right now, that this live lead generation. So it's just starting. Like I was saying earlier, almost about a third of businesses are even implementing any of this. So to start testing it and participating is to your edification and the long-term value of your company. So.
Well, and I will say I have used it again with the help of some friends. In terms of just general business strategizing, and I mentioned I'm putting this pitch deck together, and just asking it questions and getting a no nonsense sort of take on even writing, I haven't done this yet, but I've asked it for suggestions, subject matter for our newsletters and,
Yep.
or our blogs on the website and all of that stuff. It is an amazing tool. I do think, and I'm committed to the human touch at the very least on the back end. It's funny. I've almost felt like I can identify an AI generated ad now, just because
Absolutely.
there's just no glitz or glam or human component to it. And so,
yeah, it's one dimensional. I agree. There's not that spark of the human creativity yet.
Yeah. Well, when it's there, we're in trouble, buddy. I got to tell you.
Yeah. I'm going to be the guy that sweeps the floor and make sure the electricity stays on.
Yeah. I will say this. I know I'm not farming right now, but one thing I have a great, we need more farmers. For your listener, I know that's not AI adjacent, but we need more farmers. We have a real situation in this country, and I would even say globally. And I can tell you that to raise animals right and to work with nature, there is no AI on this planet that can do that. Right. And so I've sort of joked and said, well, if everything goes to pot, when AI takes over, it won't be able to grow pigs like I can. So, we'll always have a need for healthy food. Indeed.
Yes. Well, it's good. I appreciate your conversation and the candidness about where you're at with your business. And I think it would be fun to check in a 6 months or a year and see what kind of how things have changed for you. I always love to hear about product releases and what new products are on the horizon. So I'm looking forward to hearing about what you've got coming out and how the product release went. So,
well, I appreciate that. I'm actually excited. Again, we got to meet through some mutual friends, and I was intrigued by the opportunity to come on here. Again, I'm a novice at this stuff, but I do know that AI and its capacity, especially from a marketing standpoint, are going to be so instrumental. I would even say, given our customized, individualized, high integrity, high education product, I think it's an even bigger asset there. I think the commoditized side of the market, it's just gonna churn and burn that stuff. But I think it's a real leverage point, and I'm very much looking forward to adopting some new strategies as we move forward.
Well, tell me how to get in touch with you if I wanted to find you online, Charles.
Yeah, our website is Farrow, FARROW.life. Instagram is Farrow Skin, @FarrowSkin. We don't look like a traditional skincare company, so bear with us. We lead with the pig and the farm and all of those fun things. But those are the two best places to find us. I've got a LinkedIn account. I've got Farrow Life on X is probably another good spot you can find us, but just not super active on that platform, albeit we're there. And so, and my phone number's right there on the website, or if you want to send it, if you have a question, DM us or send us contact us. We'd love to answer any of your questions and certainly bring you along for the ride on our journey.
Well, I appreciate that, Charles, and thank you very much for taking the time to spend with me this evening, having a conversation about your skincare line, and wish you the best of luck. And I'm looking forward to see what you guys produce.
Thank you, Emmanuel. It's been a real pleasure.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks for listening to Marketing in the Age of AI. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Your copy of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI is available at Amazon.com or EmmanuelRose.com. You can also connect with Emmanuel on LinkedIn. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.